introducing after a minute. Just had to get the live. Oh, okay, so.
I'm not gonna lie. My chapstick is here. I did forget that.
No, put it on. It's not going live yet. It's all good. It's all good. All right, no problem.
All I gotta do is put a button up.
So we're gonna give thanks, everyone. Benevolence is DAVIDEMETRI. We are live in color, y'all. It's DAVIDEMETRI. You know, dropping the jewels as usual. Live, we are live, yeah. And I said we because the brethren is in here. The brother's coming with the consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Leaving the ignorance behind is what we do. We're to bring those with the wisdom in, because wisdom and knowledge are two different things. A lot of people got a lot of knowledge and they can repeat it, but they don't have wisdom. And that's why there's not enough peace in this world. And so, yeah. I'm not drinking alcohol, y'all. And this is not Starbucks. This is an old Starbucks cup. But this is actually mushroom coffee. You drink mushroom coffee, brother?
Don't even drink coffee stuff.
Wonderful. Do you know I didn't start drinking coffee till I was in my 40s?
Whoa.
I didn't even drink coffee, man, until I was in my 40s. I remember on the job, they kept trying to get me, I was spitting it out. I couldn't take the taste of it. It was like beer. I could never really catch on to beer. You know, I don't know. Maybe I got sensitive taste buds. Maybe my sensitive taste buds kept me from being an alcohol addict or a nicotine addict or a caffeine addict. Yeah.
Definitely a blessing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Especially for me, you know what I mean? Definitely. Yeah. So I'm happy you're here, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody on the live and those that will be coming on the live, because a lot of people review my lives. So, you know, those replays on the YouTubes. And remember, y'all on DAVIDEMETRI live in color on YouTube.com. DAVIDEMETRI live in color. And on YouTube, you're at OWU, the Original World Union. And we're dropping it, DAVIDEMETRI, on Instagram. That's right, and DAVIDEMETRI Johnson on Facebook. All going live right now, simultaneously. Why don't you introduce yourself, bro?
Awesome. So first and foremost, thanks for having me. My name is Noah, and
Can you repeat that?
oh yes. So thanks for having me. Also, my name is Masawa.
Kasawa.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I say it right?
Wait, say it again.
Did I say it right?
Oh, say the name again.
Insawa or Kansawa?
Oh no, Masawa.
Masawa. Oh, yeah, that definitely sounds Ethiopian. You know what I mean? Amharic, is that what that is?
Nah. So I'm Eritrean.
Eritrean, yeah. I always meet Eritreans, bro. Did you know that? I had a Eritrean girlfriend. Like, me and her brothers used to do all kind of crazy stuff together.
Holy, wait, I'm not gonna lie though. There's a lot of us in the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Bay Area, Southern California, Vegas.
Nice, really.
And when I lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, it was a whole area. They called it Little Eritrea. We used to kick it. Silver Spring, Maryland. Look it up.
Oh, I mean, I was in Silver Spring like a few months ago. I mean, a few weeks ago. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Was kicking it. We'd be like meeting up at the Barnes and Nobles, and from there we'd just be running around, doing all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I got nostalgia in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's great. Where you born? You were born in America, right?
Yeah. So I was born in Virginia.
Okay.
In this part, I lived there for a super short amount of time, and then I moved up to PA. So
What?
I'm from Reading, PA.
Man, you've been around.
Crazy, man.
You know, that's the East Coast, so you know, you guys got the original energy over there for the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You guys got a lot, man. A lot of people don't know how the sports rolls out there. A lot of people out here don't know how big the sports is out there.
It surprised me to hear that, honestly.
Well, I think now it's a little bit different. I think California's historically, because I've been here most of all my life, other than the years I spent living overseas. And the time I lived in the tri-state area, I lived in D.C., Silver Spring, Suitland, you know what I'm saying, off of U Street. You know what I mean? I did my thing on the East Coast, you know, and the 90s, back and forth, I was living over there in Harlem. That's in New York City. But a lot of people in California, because of the weather and because it's, back in the days, it used to be a lot of shit to do, and a lot of people from the rest of the country was coming here. So if you in L.A., Dago, or the Bay, or Frisco, and any of that, especially if you're in L.A., you could just drive up the street and be in Las Vegas. So Las Vegas is considered, it's Nevada, the rules and laws and the attitude, but they're heavily influenced by us. Think about it. Tupac was there all the time. He got shot there, you know. Rest in power, Tupac. But they don't get out to the East Coast as much as y'all get down here, is what I'm trying to say.
Wow. That is a good point, actually.
But when I'm there, I swear, when I'm there out here, I'm at combat sports a lot. Because I'm originally from a city called San Bernardino. It's a small city, and it's one of the most messed up cities in the United States. And it's actually the fighting training capital of the United States. And so Big Bear and Running Springs, all this stuff is right up the hill but they don't just train there. They train down the hill and all that. And so going to fighting sports is out here. But when I'm in football, it's hockey especially. Hockey, football, basketball games, I swear, baseball, I'm getting in games for free when I'm on the East Coast. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
And that's why I love. Go ahead.
Pardon me. What do you mean by that? Like game true?
Well, you know, I work with the federal government in different agencies doing databasing, strategy development for distribution of information, and I just basically worked on information itself, you know, statistics analysis, and with the Census Bureau headquarters. But they would assign some of us to different agencies, so we had to go and actually literally live in different areas in the tri-state area. And then they sent us to Puerto Rico. They sent us to different places. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of work, but it's you know, it's better than when I was working for the state of California.
Whoa, man, that's unique though.
Yeah, it is unique.
Wow. I almost joined the military, so like I totally get it in terms of just going around places and everything.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize I didn't launch the live on IG, everybody. I'm sorry, brother. I didn't realize it because the way I got this set up, I just changed to I changed from having a software that would link all my lives up to I could link up with this software 10 different channels. I can go to my websites, all my websites. I could live on all my websites, to Instagram like I am now, all that at once. Well, they try to play those of us that have been loyal with them. When they raised their prices, they weren't supposed to raise it on us, and they did. They tried to play us, so I was one of the ones that said, "No, I'm gonna opt out for now. You guys gonna have to win me." But I want to talk about not only these elections, because I see you talking about that, but I want to talk about where the United States can go and will go by our estimations, me and you and anybody that's on any of the channels that I'm on, Instagram, David Demetri, Facebook, David Demetri Johnson, David Demetri Live in Color on YouTube, and OWU, Original World Union on YouTube. So any of y'all want to comment, we're going to address your comments. You see the phone number right there. Let me make that look better. The phone number is 909-446-2388. But let's talk about, because I see me and you got a lot in common. That's why I asked you to come on. Our way of thinking was similar, but I think you were a little bit more courageous toward expressing it. And so I wanted you to come on, and I personally want to know what people think about where the country is going to go regardless who becomes president, because we're so caught up in being a political atheist. I don't get in being I was a debater, a world's debater for like a decade, globally, internationally. So I don't really get hyped up just by elections and stuff like that. But I do want to know, what are your perspectives in different areas? And if you have different areas of government and our international relations and our domestic situation that you want to ask me what I feel about, or anybody that might be watching, they can call in. That's the phone number I just made bigger, you guys. And I want to kick it off and know, who do you think will be better for our domestic situation, Trump or Harris? Who do you think, what is it, November, December? It's pretty much a wrap. We're past the, the finish line where we get the touchdown. So who do you think is going to win?
Well, okay.
Could you turn up your audio? Is it possible?
I'll try my best. Let's see.
So you're using your phone, correct?
Correct. This is the maximum I can go. Is there any improvement?
No, but hold on. Let me see if I can help you out. Go ahead, speak.
Okay. This is a great, complex question. Although I don't do much research, if I had to make a prediction, I would say Trump is slightly better.
Trump?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like him, but I can never vote for him. However, if I had to choose,
Domestically, you think he'll be better?
yeah, surprisingly.
So you believe that Donald Trump would be better domestically for our nation going forward? Do you think he'll win?
Yes, unfortunately.
He said, unfortunately. See, this is what I like about him. This is what I like about you, man, because of the simple fact that although you're a realist, a lot of people aren't capable of thinking like you just thought. So they're not, but yet they might be realists when it comes to finance, but they're not realists when it comes to politics and leadership. You know what I mean? Like, you just said you think Trump would be better off for the nation domestically, yet you don't think he'll win, and you don't want him to win.
Well, one correction, I do think he will win.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You do believe he'll win, but you don't want him to win. But at the same time, you do believe he's better for the nation domestically. We haven't addressed the international yet. So it's interesting because some people would say, and that's where political atheism come in, and that's why this is a great conversation. And when you do speak because you're not being heard so good because you didn't get a mic prepared, it's my fault, everybody, by the way. He's legit. When you I want you guys to follow him. That's his that name under, that's his actual name on TikTok. And I'm gonna put up I'm gonna spell out in the comments his Instagram name. I want you to follow him because trust me, he sounds good and great and clear when he's speaking. It's interesting because he's lively and energetic. Some people, they talk about politics, they're low energy and stuff. So what they do is they get these videos and put them in the background because they themselves aren't, not to put them down. Not everybody has the same talent. So come on, you guys, give me a break. I'm not putting anyone down, but I am saying that he's lively, he's energetic, and he brings positive energy. We don't have to agree with any, and being a political atheist, you learn this. You don't have to agree with people to get good energy from them. So I personally believe, and I don't know, hopefully I can get Sir Laura Score Otto to comment, and Alley Cat to comment there on the Instagram. But I will read your comments, and if you want to call in, you can call in. I just set that up. You will be heard loud and clear if you call in. Thank you again, everybody. Just want to say thank you. The call-in number is 909-446-2388. If you're on the Instagram, go over to Davidemetri Live in Color on YouTube. Subscribe, join in, and we're going to be welcoming you all to go live about what you want to go live at your own disposed time. That's what I offer to you, to anyone, because I want you guys to promote your businesses. No, that's my song, by the way. I produced. That's one of the only tracks I ever produced in the whole world on my own. It's a soca song, but I want you guys to come on. You can promote your business. You could talk about the elections if you want. You could talk about the finance world, your investments. You could talk about your talent. You could promote your social media, your websites, your businesses, your travel agency, whatever it is you do, your writings. We promote and market here on our platforms. Davidemetri Live in Color on YouTube. Original World Union on YouTube. We're going live on all of them right now. And those of you that are on the YouTube, subscribe to my Instagram. It's Davidemetri on Instagram. It's Davidemetri Johnson on Facebook, and etc. Everybody join in. The brother is about to drop some good jewels. You got to excuse that his sound isn't, I didn't give him a chance to prepare, so he didn't get his mic. It's my fault. But any of you that want to come on, get on the live, you can come on the live too, and I'll give you a heads up. I won't make the mistake I made with him. It's my fault. But we're talking about what the country is going to look like and what might end up happening after the elections are done. Everybody's so caught up in the elections and shit, and P. Diddy and shit, that they're not even aware of what could be coming, because life is pros and cons, opportunities and challenges. Know what I'm saying? Support and haters. So friends and frenemies, right? So we had to be preparing. So we're gonna discuss this, y'all. Join in. You can call in. That's the phone number, 909-446-2388. You see it on the screen. What's up, Dia214? You are in the Dia14 is in the place to be. So Sir Otto is in the place to be. Alley Cat is in the place to be. So, bro, I think Donald Trump will not be voted in. And I don't just mean by the, because you said you believe Donald Trump will get voted in. And you said, unfortunately, so that expresses how you feel about him. I feel the same way. But I don't feel much. I do like Kamala Harris in certain ways. I like Trump in certain ways, but I like her more. But I'm disappointed in things about her and the Democrats. You know, I don't get it. I don't know who's pulling their strings, and I'm just not feeling that type of shit. But I feel like Donald Trump won't win, and I'm going to say why, and I want you to say why you think he will win. This is why, and we won't stay long in that unless somebody wants to put a comment or want to call in. I believe Donald Trump won't win because I don't believe Donald Trump's running because he believes he can win. but I think he's running because that's his way to stay out of jail. That's his stay out of jail card. And that's what's kind of odd about the whole thing is I even believe when Donald Trump supposedly had got shot a month ago or whatever, I not only believe it was staged, but I think the reason why they staged it is because Donald Trump is in debt to people. He owes people. He's not only not doing what they want him to do, they put him in office the first time. All these white nationalist movement and groups and all these white nationalists and financial people put him in a position to become the president, and even after that helped keep him out of jail, and he kind of abandoned them. And so what's usually done with that, it's like it's dealt with when in politics, in the political world, you guys, it's dealt with like it is in prison. It's not dealt with like in the business world. You go to court, you have to prove, you know what I mean? It's dealt with like in the political world, it's dealt with like prison is. It's dealt with a swift sword. And so I think Donald Trump and them knew them people were going to come for him. So they staged a shooting. And what they did that for is now the federal government had to step in and put more security on him. And that's why that man that tried to kill, had the guns, he was going to try to kill him. That's why he was caught. He wasn't caught by Donald Trump's security. He was caught by the federal specialized security that wasn't even with Donald Trump until the shooting a month before that. You guys follow me? So he does have people that want to kill him and stuff. They all did. That's comes with being a leader, period. But this is just pronounced. And I feel like the courts pushed him and said, look, we got this on your son. We can put him in prison. We got this on you. We can put you. We're going to let you keep running for office. You're going to lose. Keep up a front with your people. And not only that, we're going to save you from blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah that want you dead. And the only reason we're really saving your ass is because we don't want anyone to feel bad about our country because one of our ex-presidents has been killed. Is it starting to get bizarre to you guys? Are y'all starting to feel what I'm saying? Y'all feeling what I'm saying? If so, put a thumbs up in that comment box. Put whatever signal, let that 100 in the comments. What do you think about what I just said, bro?
I would say it's very eye-opening, and that's the first time I heard certain things that you have said. Some of it I'm definitely like, absolutely, and then some of it I'm like, ooh, I'm not sure, but it's concerning. Like, because what if it is true? So, yeah, it's very eye-opening. I'll tell you that right now.
He's in debt, man. They let him run. They can't have an ex-president killed. That'll make the United States look vulnerable. Nobody has been killed like that since John F. Kennedy.
Exactly.
And then also no president ever been put in prison. So I believe he's just there. He's just there to pay that debt and to be kept alive. Who knows what they're going to do to him if he doesn't, since he's not going to win. But I'm pretty sure they came to some agreements. That's my perspective. I can't prove anything, you guys, but that's how the real gangsterism work. I grew up, by the way, y'all, in a hellhole. My family was gangsters. You know what I'm saying? They were a rough family. And I had to grow up being involved in a lot of things nobody would want to be involved in as a child or a teenager. Luckily, I never been to prison. I never been hooked on drugs and stuff because I grew up with drugs around me. I grew up in a prison. My whole life was a prison. So I knew I didn't want to be destroyed and tormented. So I did everything I had to have a better life than that. But what do you think? Since you think Donald Trump is going to win, why do you think he'll win?
The reason I said that is because I think the Republicans are tired of the inflation and just having Biden himself. So I think when Republicans are so fed up, they get away with stuff. Like if Democrats were to riot, you know, everybody would complain. But whenever the Republicans riot, like January 6th, when they did even worse, an unconstitutional thing, like what consequences really happened? I don't know if much happened. Even though I don't encourage January 6th, but I'm sure you know exactly what I mean.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. That's an interesting perspective. So, do you actually believe that Donald Trump will win because he'll get more votes on the populace and with the electoral college, or is it just the electoral college that's going to get him in?
Mm, I'm not sure which the two, to be honest. One of them for sure. I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, I was going to ask it even before we got on. Yeah, I know that's a tricky question.
I
I
do
don't.
think most states.
Most states, he'll win the populist votes in most states. I think that I personally believe that Democratic voters that, or just voters that want to vote for Kamala Harris, I think they're kind of like naive about how many people want to vote and support Donald Trump. I don't believe they realize how many people around them are fooling them. How many people around them are just not talking to them, and why they don't talk to them. It's because they're not like you. Like Kendrick Lamar said. And so they want asinine ass Donald Trump in office because of all these political myths that have been created, and also because I know a lot of people don't probably want to hear this history from the 1980s, but it's a fact and truth that the GOP didn't exist till the early 80s. And the only reason it exists because Nixon, the President Nixon, had got caught cheating and stealing and all this shit, so they kicked him out of presidency. He totally got kicked out. They made him just quit, right, y'all? I know a lot of y'all like, this shit is boring, has nothing to do. Yes, it does, because what happened with that was the Republicans were totally gutted and destroyed as a party. So basically, they had nothing they could do. There was no way for them to come back from it. They had some think tanks, and this dude realized there were millions of white Americans in the middle class and poor throughout the whole United States, and millions of non-blacks that lived around them whites that were all felt disempowered because the only thing they had as Americans, when it came to politics, was the Republicans. So they came up with this thing where they start speaking to them, and it was like quasi-racist, and it was fully classist, but somehow it pitched to those poor whites right, because those poor whites were kind of stuck on the historical 1800 racist shit, the Jim Crow and slave age racist shit. They were stuck on dumb on that shit. So they were able to get them to all vote for Ronald Reagan, who was a dude that could never get a lead role in a real movie. Like, and so what ended up happening is, like, fast forward, the Republicans fucked up with George Bush, lying to everybody, telling everybody the GOPs basically died after George Bush. And so, like, they had to come up with something new, and that new thing was Donald Trump and all his favor and all that different shit. They needed somebody that they could latch to. But that's not how the Democrats and liberals and moderate Democrats or even moderate Republicans roll. They have minds of their own, the kind of like da 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 type of thing. But that causes kind of division amongst each other. But the other ones, they're like robots and clones. Like the Republicans and right wings, they're robot clones because they so desperate to have some sort of representation. But it's a myth to think that people of color are the ones that need representation. No, we need power and resources. We need people to cheat for us. We need the system to give us $10,000 free every 5 years and nobody know about it. Like them poor racist white people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about California. I'm talking about the Midwest and shit. In other words, shit that used to be those people of ethnicity and that are historically the deprived and historically outcasted, rejected, picked on, sabotaged, disallowed, need a break. But I think the political programming is that we all are everyday people, so we think for ourselves because that's a necessity to survive. But it kind of, when it comes to politics, we need to be thinking all together. And so that's why I do like what they're doing with Kamala Harris and liked what they were doing with Barack Obama, even though I see flaws in them. Because I want to see the people of color doing that, right? The people with the LGBTQ and all these different immigrants. I like to see all of them rolling together in the everyday good white people and whatever black people, like all these people all rolling together. But because I was raised with a goddad that was a white Republican from Kentucky that went to Harvard Business School, but he came in my life as a Christian missionary while I was a poor black dude, mixed black dude amongst immigrants of all kinds. We had Vietnamese, Hispanics, we had Puerto Ricans, we had Cambodians, we had Samoans, Tongans, we had Eritreans, my brother. So what how do you feel about that dynamic? Because people don't really talk about that dynamic, but it's right there in front of our face of the right wing, what the right wing really is and what the left wing really is, what the Democrats really are and the Republican. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you worded that perfectly. So it's a great question. I'll tell you this. I was always wondering, why is every Republican that's famous and has power so racist? But then I realized, like you said, the people are so desperate to get somebody to win for some type of representation. And I'm not gonna lie, the left definitely we run the media, whether people like it or not. We do for the most part. I'm not gonna lie about that. So at the end of the day, I know I don't like most right wing people, but at the end of the day, they have to be so desperate in order to always support somebody racist, even if they're not racist themselves. So yeah, that's why I don't like most right wing people. At least politically, I know they don't care about oppressed people. They're just hypocrites. Yeah, honestly. I mean, left wing's not perfect, but at least left wing, they don't have evil intentions, or they don't have intentions that are careless. That's the big difference. Like in terms of voters, not like the candidates.
You right and exact, bro. Absolutely right and exact in the way you put that. I think that's what is important for the young people to realize, and the younger people need. When I say young, I mean like 30 years and younger. I think the younger need to also realize, like, the other countries have more than two political parties. Every country in this world have more than more than two political parties. They're basically fucking us over, everybody. If and if you don't know, I studied political science on 3 continents. I studied international humanitarian law in Geneva, Davos. I was a world's debater globally in mock United Nations. I've taught all of this. I studied at the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University and Political Academy. I shook Nelson Mandela hand. I have a political science degree in the United States. I have a master's in public administration law. I know what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to this shit. They are screwing us over. You are not being represented because each party is supposed to be a representation of specified geographical areas and those specific geographical areas factions. I think that's the best word for it, factions. And money conglomerates, resource conglomerates. And then with that, you can provide the needs. Your particular area and your particular finance group, economic group, under a name, like the UIPLF. That's in one of my films. It's a group called the UIPLF. Now, the UIPLF is a political party. It doesn't have to be just in a specific geographical area. It could be a specific financial investment or populist group, right? They have a name, UIPLF. When it's time for big elections, they all go together to vote to get their leader in. Then they can help not only themselves that way. If they become the leader, there might be 11 parties. When I last lived in South Africa, they had 11 political parties. They all battled for who's going to be the president. You can go to a prime ministerial election. Britain, for instance, it's the same thing. They have all these different factional groups. Each group represents a political party. How in the hell are you, anybody on this, being represented by the Democrats or the Republicans alone? That was Madison. He was one of the founders. He got these papers called the Madison Papers. If you read that, the whole Madison Papers was like the Willie Lynch Papers on how to keep black slaves for eternity. If you ever heard of the Willie Lynch Papers. The Willie Lynch Papers were sent throughout all the Americas, put in all the languages necessary to teach white slave owners and anybody that owns blacks as slaves on how to keep us slaves for eternity. So the same Madison, the founder, forgot his first name, I think it's Charles Madison, he wrote what's called the Madison Papers. One of the papers of the Madison Papers addresses how to control factions in groups that gain power. They're like, we need just 2 political parties. Therefore, everybody has to fall under this. Anybody else rise up, crush them with military force. I mean, etc. Falsely accuse the leadership of political heresy and criminal charges. These are the people that said the founders are so great and innocent. You see? So why do we have 2 things? We're going into 2025. That's the reason why we're doing this talk, right? But why is the global system of economics still ran off? Why is it ran off a 1600 financial system? The foundation of currency, written note currency, and fiat currency is from the 1600s in the UK. Why are we still in that system? And then why are we still in a lot of systems from the early industrial age? You see, that's not nothing we're going to discuss, but I just want to put that out there, everybody, so you can realize the kind of games the oligarchs of the United States are playing. And yes, I said the oligarchs.
My friend said that last night, literally.
Yeah? What'd he say?
He literally said, like, the USA is like an oligarch. That's exactly what he said.
That's just what it is. It's an oligarch / plutocracy. You know about that one?
It sounds like Pluto, but I don't know what that is.
Plutocracy. So oligarch, everybody, the oligarch system that we live in the United States of America. Canada has one. All of them. The Caribbean are trying to claim, that they don't have one. The Caribbean is completely under the oligarch system. the Pacific Islands, Samoa, Tonga, they all try to claim they're not. They're complete oligarch system. Everything, all of it. So what they do is act like fakes, and they call China and Russia oligarchs. You see what I mean? There's nothing not oligarch about the United States except plutocracy. So what is that? So we are in a system of oligarchs, plutocracy, and quasi-fascism. So let me explain. The oligarch system is the system of the rich dominating, controlling the destiny and the conditions and possibility and potentials of those that are not rich. Plutocracy, that was oligarch, the rule of the rich and powerful. During the beginning of the United States, the rich were the rich white men landowners. You go to just 150 years before that, it was the land and property owning man. The myth of the white race didn't get power until like the 1600s. The myth of these races that's not how people dealt back. People dealt with language, and they would get past their differences so they could trade and help each other, and do things together. Whereas somebody said, I'm going to dominate. We're going to be better. We're the oligarchs. We're the tyrants. And so the oligarch system is ruled by the rich, right? Whereas the plutocracy is the rule by the corporate. So I'm gonna break that down real simple and quick. The rule of the corporate is the corporations. After the Civil War, you had the 13th and 14th Amendments in the United States of America. And after the Civil War, by the 1900s, the United States was the most influential and impactful nation globally. And so what happened was the United States, by 1914, they created the Federal Reserve, which was an abomination according to the founders of the United States. Then, not only did they create that, they created the IRS, which the whole reason why they broke away from Britain and the royalty was because they was overtaxing them, which means it was an abomination. And in the same year, they used the 14th Amendment, which was created out of the grievance and desperate of dark-skinned human beings that have been treated like property and sex slaves and medical experiments for the last 400 years. So that and the 14th Amendment and 13th Amendment was what they used in order to disempower states and private owners from owning dark-skinned human beings in the United States of America in any of its protectorates lands. So what happened was, by 1914, those changes happened with the Federal Reserve, the IRS, and also they used the 14th Amendment to justify personifying of corporations, which would make the owners of the corporations totally immune to prosecutions, taxes, and everything else real persons had to suffer. So that's what plutocracy is about. The plutocracy is the rule of the corporate by legally and illegally financing and controlling what the political class will legislate, what agendas they implement, how they implement, whether it's law and order, whether it's taxing, whether it's permits and licensing, whether it's the education system. So what you have in the United States is a hidden group of aristocrats who are oligarchs who rule by plutocracy. So we live in an oligarchical plutocracy. But because of the technocrats who are the actual like sons, daughters, nieces, and all these different people of these oligarch class, they invent, reinvent, and control the highest forms of technology. So we live in an oligarch system, plutocracy system, and technocracy system all in one. And if you piece that together, that's anti-nature, that's anti-life, and that's anti-human beings. But yet they tell us that we're supposed to love what they tell us to love. And that myth is the myth of democracy. What's the difference from believing in a fat man named Santa Claus coming down a chimney when you don't even got a chimney in your apartment?
I like that analogy.
This is how much they screwing us over, but they want to put you in jail for smoking weed. For 150 years, they've been putting people in jail for smoking weed, for sharing weed with each other, like, you know, for going across state lines to have sex, or to support someone to go across state lines. The people telling everybody who the human traffickers are, for the last few hundred years, their mamas and daddies were the human traffickers.
Man, evil.
Woo! I'd say that one because that's when the devil want to get involved. Like, they telling too much truth right there. They said the word. It's scary, but I still see a lot of hope. I mean, we're not on slave plantations with chains on our arms. We're not in Sudan being enslaved. We're not in, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you're from Eritrea.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're from America, but your family is from Eritrea, so I know you know the stories, you know.
Yeah.
So back to the USA going forward to 2025, domestically, if I can ask you, if Harris wins, what would you like her to do? And I can ask you, what would you like to see Trump do if he wins? Or I can ask it in this way. Going forward, what would you like whoever become the president to prioritize domestically?
I think as long as we have a normal taxation, and other than that, creating more jobs, but at least even addressing the underemployment situation. Unemployment is a huge problem. Maybe it's number one. Underemployment is also a huge problem too. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of people, they go into college, but they get useless degrees. Although that I ain't gonna lie, that's mostly our fault. But